information there. Really to recap, I would say, in discussing R&D, big takeaway, it's a big definition. It's now permanent. And there's about 40 states that have similar tax credits. And so that's something to keep in mind. And every state is different. Some states, there's an application process. It's something to think about prospectively. For example, in the case, there's states like Pennsylvania and Maryland and Arizona and Hawaii where there might even be an application process. And there's different kinds of credits to take. You can take one or the other. And so these are things that should be analyzed on a go-forward basis. It's like going to the doctor. You get a physical and a checkup. These are things you should be looking at. Have a competent consultant come in and take a look at this. And so, looking at that, big definition, it's now permanent. It's worth exploring and making sure you're not leaving money on the table. As I mentioned, there are some cases here that are really taxpayer favorable that have come down recently. I'd be glad to send you some information on that. There is the Populous case, which is a big architecture firm, Populous Holdings, Inc., versus the United States, was a tax court case, very recent holding. That was in December of 2019. And in this case, the IRS challenged their taking of the R&D tax credit when they were being paid under fixed fee contracts. And the IRS lost in a summary judgment, which means summary judgment is there's no triable issue of fact. Not a good place to be for an attorney on the receiving end of that, but fantastic for taxpayers here. And here, this was not only a huge win for architecture and engineering, but really all professional services where you are performing work under contract, especially under fixed fee contract. Huge win there. So, you can feel free to reach out if you have any questions there. Finally, I would say, this is something to be looking at now. I imagine for many of the CPAs on this call and many taxpayers that this July 15th is going to be one of the toughest time periods in your career as far as your clients being in very tough situations. Maybe 2020 is not going so well. We've had a very tough COVID year. We've had this has been just, one for the books. Just a very tough year. Hasn't been one quite like it. And, a lot of your clients may have been doing phenomenally in 2017, 18, and 19, and 19 may be a banner year. And so, July 15th, they're finalizing their 2019 information and truing up the amount owed there. There could be a lot of money owed. And estimated payments may be based on 90% of that going forward. And so it may be a really tough period for a lot of your clients. And so this, that said, R&D is something to definitely investigate as an option. If they're performing R&D, and it's worth doing the due diligence there. And consider the CARES Act as well. So, if you've got losses in 2020, for example, it could be an opportunity to carry that back. And so the CARES Act has really created an enormous vehicle for a lot of us and our clients, and be able to, carry back some of these losses and maybe get some refunds on taxes paid in prior years. And Andy, that is really the conclusion of the overall presentation and a summary there.